We're back, and before we head into downtown Tulsa to check out some gentrification areas, I'm going to tell you exactly how I found it. Now, you can utilize ChatGPT, any of the other AI services, and I simply wrote in there, and this is something that is unbelievably different than it was 2 years ago. I just asked it, what is your recommendation for the top gentrification areas in Tulsa? In other words, young urban professionals moving in. And populating it and increasing the housing prices. Now, in the old days, we have to look up and find things on Google, and it just wasn't as strong as this. So you really could not find but the plan would be to go to those areas and to check it out, because you can't take what artificial intelligence says is the gospel. You got to go out and check it out. So I asked it for 2 specific addresses. The first one it came up with, property addresses, was Kendall Whittier. That's in the central area of Tulsa. I know exactly where that is. I've been there before. And I asked it for a specific address. Why? Because I want to go there and compare that with what I know. I found 2205 East Admiral Boulevard, and 2 specific areas out of that. One was 508 North Tulsa, or North Florence Place in Tulsa. And I asked it for a description. What kind of a description? It was recently sold. It was a renovated bungalow. These were actually properties that were sold next to this area. It shows typical rehab, comps, demand for renovated historic homes. See, when you start seeing that, you see renovated historic homes, you see new builds, and boarded up vacants just plain ugly. That is a gold mine. You've seen my videos, you've heard me talk about Tulsa before. And then another example that I asked for is I'm going to go to both of those, and I'm going to check out the neighborhoods. It's 309 South Victor Avenue. Example of mid-market sold homes in the pocket showing buyer demand for updated single-family homes. There's a lot of those areas in Tulsa. Makes it something very, very desirable. Why would you go to Kendall Whittier overall? So we're going to find that out. Focused Main Street revitalization. When you see revitalization, that's where you want to start. There's grants, facade programs, new restaurants, creative spaces. That's ground zero for great gentrification opportunities. And then Brady Heights. That is the edge of the Arts District of Brookside. Well, that didn't surprise me, because that's where the young urban professionals like to be. So I've got 2 places I'm going to visit there. 744 North Denver Avenue. Recent sale in Brady Heights demonstrates active transition in historic stock close to the Arts District. You know, and young urban professionals like to be artsy, so this doesn't surprise me at all. And then 1106 North Denver, another nearby sold example, smaller sale price, but strong upside due to proximity. See, and AI knows this. It's the proximity that gives you the upside. Why Brady Heights? Again, proximity to the Arts District. Brookside nightlife, dining, downtown Tulsa, create strong lifestyle demand. Classic gentrification. So we're not going to talk about it. We're going to go look at it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Now you can do this too, or you can direct message me at John Sarver 951-847-0116, and I'll help you do it. And look me up on YouTube and all the other social media services. I'm there. I can help. So what do you do in cold winter days? Doesn't look that cold, but trust me, it is. Here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, well, you look for areas of gentrification. And where gentrification is where the money is in real estate. Now, it may take some additional pockets. You see that right up there? That's gentrification. Because those second, third, and fourth floors, people live there. Now, I'm here at One OK Field, which is a Tulsa Drillers minor league baseball park. If you know me, you know I'm a big baseball fan. I've been here many times during the summer. But we were doing a little lunch with our Defy Mobile team right here and decided to come and check this out and just see if my hunch, because part of what you learn when you do real estate a lot is you begin to trust your instincts. And your instincts will tell you a lot of things. So, one area of investment is by what's ever happening in downtown. And One OK Field is what happens. They have a lot of outdoor concerts, a lot of things happening here for families and kids during the season, not to mention about 60 baseball dates in the year. So this field, right behind me, I've sat just about everywhere there. It's a really cool minor league park. But as I've been here several times, I haven't looked at this like I look at it now because, well, what are we doing on this video? We're looking for real estate opportunities. So right behind me, see that building right up there? The view? Guess what's there? The young urban professionals who live and work downtown. And literally, you're 2 or 3 blocks away from downtown here. So you've got these apartments here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with about 15 on each. So you got 15, 30, 60, 90, 100. You probably have a 400 unit apartment building. Now, for most of us as investors, that's going to be beyond what we can do. But if you have connections to funders, then there's opportunity. But what I would do, and I've shown this in a previous video, we were just in Central California, Stockton. I'm trying to remember where that was. It was just last week. But we're at Stockton, and we saw just a couple of buildings from downtown. There were buildings that were for sale. You see this right here? That's all people living. You see the lower, you see what I talk about, the corner store, fresh bread, leasing agent. There you go. That is classic gentrification right across from One OK Field, right here. So this is one of the areas, obviously, in Tulsa that you want to take a look at. As you go up here, I parked up here for a game this season, and it wasn't a real estate day, so I wasn't looking at this with real estate eyes. That's why you're going with me, because when you start to lock in with real estate eyes, as my mentor Todd Dotson has said, you'll never be the same. And 100% true on that. 100% true. There's one guy who knows what he's talking about when it comes to what this does to you. So So we're walking over here, and now we're in center field, and right behind us on the corner, right over there, is another building. Here we are, One OK Field. And you can see this one, the view. Look how big that is. There's probably 500 or 600 units. How you doing? Good, thank you. Over in that other building, literally 2 or 3 blocks from downtown. A short walk, short drive. But the opportunity now over here, you see those buildings in the corner? That's all classic downtown gentrification. So there you go, Silhouette, Sneakers and Art. Usually the big indicator of gentrification is living units on the 2nd and 3rd floor, some kind of commerce on the bottom floor. And you got that, you got classic gentrification happening. Now over here, behind me, is a building that now has got a dual use because of it being around the stadium. That's what you see in a lot of these cities here. Stadiums being built, and then commerce opportunities around them. There's a big case of that in Atlanta. Turner Field is where the 1996 Olympics were. Here's behind me, more gentrification here, big time. You've got this right here, classic, right down here. This is all gentrified. Glenwood Eatery, all built around the stadium with a 2nd floor. Wouldn't that be surprised if those were living dwellings or offices for downstairs? Nevertheless, there's an opportunity here. So, hey there, how you doing, man? So, people are nice here too. It's the Midwest. You usually don't walk around with your phone on a selfie and wonder about it getting ripped off. Here's T's Barbershop. Right above, see that, are some kind of apartments or offices. Here you can walk right through here into the center field of One OK Field, and I'll give you an idea of what this looks like. But this is classic, so you're going, okay, great, but I don't have the money to start. Well, what you need to do is find people who have it. And you need to get a vision and need to get out and start looking with different eyes. Now, I bet if you lived in Oklahoma City and you came here, you wouldn't see what I see. And you don't see what I see because you're not looking with the trained eyes. But now that we have the trained eyes, here's the field behind it. You start to see things in a completely different light. So there are offices and businesses on the 2nd floor here. And again, these buildings are now built or retrofitted to have these dual use. We're downstairs, a lot of bars, a lot of eateries. Well, of course, because you got a baseball field. What are people going to do before and after a game? They're going to come out here. What are they going to do during the big games? They'll come out here. Now, this is always located by a big thoroughfare. Part of gentrification is easy in, easy out. So when you're downtown like this, it's easy in, easy out. Now, they are working on a lot of the stadium right now. So I'm going to see if I can get through. It's that time of the year where they do that. So you see a lot of real opportunity here. Now, remember, I was in Stockton just last week, and I came across 2 empty buildings. If we drove, we would probably find some empty buildings. The question is if they're going to fit our portfolio. And you really have got to be near businesses, professional sports teams like this where there's a demand. There's a demand here because, well, they have probably 80 events a year. That means the businesses are going to be able to benefit from the foot traffic. And when you got that, well, you got demand. So that's what we've got going on here. Now we're walking through right next to the highway, the ballpark. I've actually never been on this walk before. So it's, even though it's cold, it's enjoyable. So you got a lot of opportunity here. Opening night, April 2nd, not that far away. Spring training happening in less than a month. Hard to seem hardly possible. The Dodgers just won their 2nd championship about 2.5 months ago, and that seems like yesterday. Which the lesson is, the older you get, the faster it goes. So, a lot of gentrification opportunities here in downtown OKC. We're going to see some of the areas that they talked about on ChatGPT in a minute. Gentrification comes in a lot of different forms and sizes, and here you can see a community that is less than a mile from downtown. And this is classic gentrification, where you have the young urban professionals living in houses, townhouses really, like this. And this is this park right here. Perfect for little kids, isn't it? The commute to downtown is less than 2 minutes. So you get these towns that pop up, or these little projects, as they call them in real estate, that pop up specifically to cater to young urban professionals. Now, you don't have what you have down by One OK Field. And those are literally the stores and the convenience locations right under their nose. But the point is that this is classic gentrification. So it comes in different forms. Now, of course, the kind of real estate we do, you're not going to be looking at this kind of area. But if you know how to get lots, and I know how to find those, John Sarver, direct message me, 951-847-0116. And you can buy plots of land close to these cities and make it. Gentrification takes a lot of forms. It looks differently, or looks different depending where you're at. We're coming into the Kendall Whittier area, which is about a mile outside of Tulsa. And this is classic gentrification, where you have these studios coming in, different businesses that appeal to younger people. A lot of evidence of that. There's a Golden Salon, Whittier Hair, classic Route 66 right over there. This is on North Lewis. It's not too far away from downtown. You see an old movie theater Latino's Mexican Grill, Ziegler Supplies and Framing. But the appeal to this is where younger people would be drawn to this. Now the question is, well, okay, here you got the businesses, but there's got to be a reason or something to support these businesses. So let's take a look at the housing. We're just going to drive by here, and sure enough, we have a rehab right here. It has definitely been worked on. Some older inventory here. But the point is, you have inventory that can support what's going on in that Kendall Whittier area. So over here, yep. You know, some of these probably would be Airbnbs. Now these are rough, but there's one back there that would be an Airbnb. You look into Tulsa, and you don't have to go too far to where you start seeing what the idea is here on how to fix up and rent Airbnbs. It's a lot more lucrative, in my opinion, than straight renting. Yeah, straight renting, you can depend on them, so you got to make sure you're in the right place. So this will be an Airbnb type house, and it's you can tell it's up for sale. So it's a house that's up for sale. So we're not that far. Downtown is just right over here. So the Kendall Whittier area gives some good opportunity for investment. There are older houses for sure, and there are houses that you could probably get in close to wholesale or distressed rental level. And these are houses then for people who come in and work in this area, work in Tulsa, or here visiting like I am for a week. A lot of need for rentals. So that is one thing I would suggest. Good stuff.